Hello, my name is Xavier Mercado, and this is Spearhead Conversations. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Swift Sloan. He's a Milwaukee legend, an independent filmmaker. He said, "These aren't the boundaries in the sky. Space and the stars seem a little more." Since I've started this podcast, he's someone that I have looked to for inspiration. The amount of projects he's put out, the actors and actresses he's worked with, he's stood very true to the city we come from. So, finally our paths crossed, and I was happy to say we were able to make this happen. So here he is today. So without further ado, how you doing, Swift?
Good, bro. How you doing, Xavier?
I'm doing good, man.
Oh, man.
I just want to say before we even go into this, I truly mean that. I have been, since I started this 3 years ago, you are someone that I've looked up to. Just the lines that you've crossed, the bar you've set, the quality that comes with the films you've made on platforms like Amazon Prime, Tubi. For someone from the same city, it's inspirational, it's motivational, and it's something I've aspired to be like. So I just want to say thank you for coming on. I really respect your work, and I'm a fan.
Man, listen, bro, I appreciate that from my heart. You know what I mean? As you said, I do my best, man, to try to make all these projects.
Yeah.
I'm all about quality over quantity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pleasure to be on your podcast, man. And it's also, I'm thankful, for all the kind words. You know what I mean? And this is some dope shit you doing too. So let's not forget about that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, man. And, this all started combating the negative stereotypes of our city. And it was just simply me wanting to have conversations with the people that make it. As we dive into your story over the interview, it's just, man, it's one of those moments of like, man, he's sitting in front of me, we doing this, and this is one that I could say for Milwaukee, this is big.
100.
So you ready to jump in?
Let's get it, man.
So where were you born?
Right here, man.
Yeah, what hospital?
Mount Sinai.
Mount Sinai? Okay, got you.
Don't ask me what time.
I know what.
I know. Hey, I asked my mom that one time because I was trying to do something with my, what was it? Social Security card, birth certificate, one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't remember what time exactly you was born.
Oh, man. I was born in South Bronx.
Okay.
But immediately after I was born, my mom decided, you know what, 6 months in New York, we going to Milwaukee. She followed my abuela, and then we ended up here. My abuela, which is my grandmother, she ended up going back, and we still here. I don't even think I could move from this city. I need all 4 seasons. Wow. There's people out there that, I would love the hot weather. I can't do that all year round, nor cold. But
that's a challenge right there. People don't understand. Being from the Midwest, I did the Texas thing,
Yep.
And it's like, bro, you realize how you comfortable with
the
snow.
The elements, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate, like, my favorite season, fall. That's the sweater weather. That's when I can start bringing out the real wardrobe.
It's the best, man.
Oh, man. But how was your childhood?
My childhood was, it was fun, like anybody else, of course, growing up in the inner city, and, I come up in the 80s, what I mean? So it was a very different city then. Mm-hmm. People let their kids go outside and be gone for hours and hours, and you don't see them. Nobody got cell phones, and Milwaukee was a different place back then.
Yeah.
But my childhood, it was filled with a lot of different things. You know what I mean? A lot of different colors. You know what I'm saying? Ups, downs, and just like any. I think I had a pretty normal childhood.
Yeah. I'm an 80s baby too. I wasn't raised in the 80s, but I made it that last year.
Yeah.
I was born in 89, January, cap season coming up. You feel me? But no, I was born in 89. I say my generation is the last generation where we were outside fully. And then we transitioned into, you know, what it is now, the big iPods to the little nanos. But I feel like, in a sense, the time you even came up in, because we share that, it's crazy how we had landlines. It's crazy how we
I know, right?
we had the box TV. You know what I mean? It was such a different world, and it was crazy because when those lights came in, if you weren't home, man, at least I know I got mine. But you know, it was a different time, and I wish now, like I have 4 kids, I wish my kids, you know, I usually have to pry them off their electronics, but man, just being outside used to be a thing, you know.
And you're right. It's a shame that these kids nowadays, they don't really get a chance to experience that.
Yeah.
You know, you go to certain areas, obviously suburbs, and you know, in Milwaukee County or, you know, around the area, and you still see that. You know, I'm not saying that you don't see it in Milwaukee, but parents are definitely more protective, and I think that you gotta be.
You gotta be.
You know, but one of the I asked myself a question. Let me ask you this. I said, is it that you have to be, or is it that we just know too much now with all this information?
It kind of plays into both. With everything that's going outside, the stories you hear that comes across the news, you know what I mean? You definitely have to be precautious. And yeah, it's I wish my kids could experience it, but at the same time, it's being protective.
Yeah.
And we just gotta, man, I don't know how to put it. I know I worked my butt off to get where I'm at. So they have a yard. They have you know, a basketball court in the back they could go play. But I understand, like with families, it isn't like that. I grew up in Section 8, you know. But I'll tell you, in my experience of growing up, that was the way. Using the imagination with your friends, you know what I mean, riding on the bikes. And man, it was, you had to be there. Yeah. What type of hobbies were you into growing up?
Well, I had a lot. You know, me and my cousins, my brother, we used to play this game called Movie, you know.
Okay.
I mean, it was ironic, you know, that. And it was a lot of shows. We used to watch the Untouchables and stuff like that back then, man, and basically act them out. You know, we didn't have scripts or nothing like that. But that was like a big hobby. Like we would literally set everything up. I'm talking about, you know, create the sets, and we didn't even know we was doing all that. But you know, that was a big thing. I mean, of course, I tried my hand at rapping. You know,
my boy put
I was
he put them bars down.
Yeah. But outside of that, you know, I used to love boxing. You know what I mean? Of course, video games. You know, I'm an Atari kid, and
there we go.
And then we transitioned into Nintendo and you know, Mario Brothers and
then Sega.
Sega. You know? And that's kind of where I fell off the whole video game thing around that Sega era. But you know, I think a lot of, you know, what I used to do was just really just freestyling. You know, as a kid, you know, you just go outside. You know, you go out there. Okay, if you had a bike at the time, you playing with your bike. You know, fixing the chain and all that, and big wheels, and you know, it just, you know, wherever. My main thing was just, you know, wherever the day took us, bro.
Yeah. You know, being from Milwaukee, what early experience shaped your perspective on storytelling? What's the earliest memory you feel that you tapped into that side of yourself?
I would say I probably was about 10 or 11. And my grandmother, she stayed on 35th and Highland. I'll never forget, it was a couple of houses off the corner. And, you know, that's when it was we were like like I said, we were just trying to obviously have something to do, but I think that watching a lot of different things, that's why I think it's important that
Yeah.
you making sure what your kids paying attention to, because we used to watch Untouchables, Gangster Chronicles, all
Yep.
that kind of stuff, and it was fascinating to us. We wanted to play Frank Nitty and
For real.
Al Capone. Man, all them different
Yeah.
guys, like the Purple Gang. I don't know if you're familiar.
No,
with all
I
that.
know everything you're talking about, man.
So creatively, that right there is the first. Those are my most clear memories.
Yeah.
Of actually, using organization with creativity.
Gotcha. Now, going through this time frame from 11 and beyond, did you ever join theater in school? Was this something that you took as far as serious while you were still in school, or was this something that generated post high school?
Yeah, no, I never took theater or anything like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that this was gonna be my path. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, I didn't even know, that they had stuff like that, theater classes and all that kind of stuff. I was more focused. I think at that time it was my thoughts was on just being in business some type of way.
Yeah.
I think that was the goal for me. It was all about, okay, how do I create a situation where I can, every kid want to help their mother, because like you, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon, you know what I'm saying? And, you become a product of the things that you see.
Yeah.
So, me being in theater, that was like, that was so far, outside of the realm of where I was in my life.
When did film come into play, and when did you feel that it was more than an interest in something you wanted to pursue?
I would say probably late 90s.
Late 90s?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's when I really, my first goal, my first thoughts of getting in entertainment was, I had this thing. I said, I'm gonna move to California and be an actor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was, but that was me dreaming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was me dreaming, and I think it was something that obviously, Hollywood, all the lights and
It's like the flashiness and just the the image that came with it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was never the money.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about money at that time. It was just really all about, what am I doing with my life? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the next phase, right?
Yeah.
So that probably was the first real like buzz as an adult when I started to actually want it.
Yeah. When do you feel that? Actually, let me retract that. Were there any defining moments that pushed you in the direction that you ultimately become?
That's a good question. Defining moments. You know what? I don't think so, bro. I think that that everything it just started to snowball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me starting to write, because the acting buzz that was the bug. That was just a bug, right?
Yeah.
But for me starting to write, it led to other things because I just didn't I didn't limit myself to the possibilities of what I would be doing in this field.
Yeah.
Initially, I thought that when I first started, thinking about producing and things like that, I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna produce and direct some music videos.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went to school for film and stuff, that was kind of like the goal. It wasn't okay, I'm gonna graduate and then go work a job, a corporate company for a corporate company and something like that. It was all about how can I use this skill set to push my agenda.
Yeah.
And but that really that wasn't something that it wasn't my path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that went out the window.
Mm-hmm.
But what didn't go out the window was me falling in love with visuals.
Yeah.
That's when I really, really fell in love with visuals.
And one of the things I was watching the Circumstances series the other day because as soon as we leaked that we were talking about making this happen, I'm like, babe, you gonna come with me? We gonna watch a couple of these series together. So my wife has been plugged in with me, watching it's the growth and it's seeing just, man, the connection I make to your movies. How do you feel the environment of Milwaukee has played on the tone and realism that you bring into the work that we see today?
I think that the biggest thing for the realism and the tone is the fact that we are actually in the environment.
Yeah.
And, we got the sauce.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Hollywood and anybody outside of this circumference of where we are that's looking to tell these stories that we telling.
Yeah.
They have to do it either from a distance and try to recreate what this actually is, or they have to go get someone from the environment or someone who knows somebody to try to duplicate what's going on. But the difference between us and I think what's going on particularly in independent film right now is I think that people are in love with these stories because it's being told by us.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't, it's hard for you to fake something, and sell it to somebody and tell them that it's real. It's,
with the films that I've watched and the projects that you've directed, I really feel it's raw and emotionally grounded. How did you develop the visual sense and the narratives that you put into these films and projects?
Well, for one, I always said that if anything that I shot, I wanted to tell our stories, number one.
Yep.
And in telling our stories, of course, you want them clean. But I want to be able to control the dialogue. And I think we've done a good job of that, of doing that. Is you understanding that if you got to push the needle or you have to make people uncomfortable with your art, then so be it. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people, they might not appreciate what we're doing, at Swift Motion Pictures, and what a lot of indie producers and directors are doing right now. But it's an audience for that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and it's but it's no different than when you look at hip hop. You go back to the 80s and, they were saying that hip hop was a genre it was trash music and it was never gonna be anything. And now look where we at, bro. It's literally the biggest.
Yeah.
It's the biggest music it's the biggest influential music in the world. I mean, it's literally changed cultures.
And that's what it is. Like, I think what I admire most about you is that I can relate to this, is the independent aspect, right? There are no lines, but there are the type of barriers you have to overcome. Equipment, the funding, you know what I mean? Everything, putting all these things together. What do you feel were early barriers you had to overcome?
The biggest one it was lack of knowledge when I shot the first movie, right? Circumstances.
Yep.
It was me not understanding, but although it was my biggest barrier, it was my greatest strength.
Yeah.
Because that fear of me not knowing what I was doing, it kept me up at night.
Yep.
When we were casting the movie, when we were shooting it, it gave me the energy and adrenaline to actually make sure that I was being very thorough, because I didn't want people to notice how uncomfortable and how unsure I was of the product. So I really went that extra mile to put my best foot forward. You know what I mean? And now that I think back on that, I wouldn't have wanted anything else. Like, if somebody would have came to me and gave me $200,000 to do that movie, $100,000 to do that movie, I think that they would have did me a disservice.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that I was able to pull it off the way that I did, out of my pocket, shooting it with a bunch of individuals who all of us was trying to figure the game out.
Yeah.
And, we actually did it. It gave me the confidence. And it also, going back almost 10 years, that was almost 10 years ago, next year.
Yeah.
When I look back on that, I wouldn't have been able to get all the lessons and everything that I've learned in all this time if it would have been so easy, where it's like, okay, because let's be real, when you got access to more money, you got access to more ideas, you got access to better talent, better crew, all of that. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't have
done it any other way.
No.
And I feel you on that, because, man, it is everyone talks about the finish line, where they're trying to get, right? Yeah. But no one takes a thought to look really what makes this, especially when you get to that finish line before you set another goal, which you should. It's everything that's happening in the moments. I really feel that we live in a society full of instant gratification. Amazon's prime example. You want something, you go on, you hit the button, it's there same day. Yep. And a lot of people, I feel, and especially what I do, they have forgotten that there are processes to doing this. And I think where most, like, influencers or anyone in the entertainment industry, from what I've seen, it's those that like to cut corners. I don't see that with you. Circumstances is the greatest example of that. You look at the first one compared to the last one, it's a whole different. It's just the looks, it's those little things you don't notice, right?
And well, again, I appreciate that. And as I was saying before, the reason why it played out the way that it did, is because every time we did another installment, everybody gained more confidence. I know I did.
Yeah.
We all became more sure of ourselves. And as we started the fans and the supporters, everybody interacting with us, all of the shows selling out. And, people falling in love with what we doing, you developed this confidence and this know-how to where you almost get into a place where you start to believe that I can do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not saying that wasn't always there, but anybody that's going down a journey and a path to do something new, if they're telling you that they don't have the jitters and they have moments of uncertainty and all that kind of stuff, they lying, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know that.
Yeah.
It's cool to get on these platforms and go to talking like you knew everything from the beginning and all that. I don't claim to know nothing.
Yeah.
All I did know was if I put my mind to something, I'm going to do my best to figure it out. And a lot of times I wasn't successful with that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of the things that I was.
And if people don't hear it enough, you have to fail over and over before you reach where you're going. I could tell you, man, I've been homeless. I've gone through the ups and downs, and to finally say that I finally found my calling, in a sense, it's a blessing. With the stories you tell through your projects like Circumstances, Rise and Fall of Cuckoo Cow, Let Me Be. What stories do you feel you're most compelled to tell through the work you do?
It would be the most misunderstood, which is most people that are marginalized. It would be the underdog, the one everybody counted out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, who talking to them? Who speaking to them? Who motivating them? Who giving them the gas and fuel they need?
Yeah.
So my whole program, at the top of it, it's about inspiring people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to tear nobody down, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm very confident in who I am. You know what I mean? But I also understand that, me making the next person feel bad about who they is not going to make me feel any better about myself.
Yeah.
I don't know about nobody else. So I have a real soft spot for that in particular. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that, anybody should be kind of like, sympathizing with every situation or everybody, because every situation and every individual doesn't need sympathy.
Yeah.
But, I like to speak for the voiceless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because guess what? I mean, I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that is trying to do anything in life, I feel like if you have a platform and you have, these situations where you got access to media and all that kind of stuff, you should be taking those moments to not only exercise your strengths and exercise whatever qualities and whatever you are doing to entertain, but you should also be using that to inform and inspire.
Yeah. I think it's our duty, as we go through this life, before we leave this life, adding something positive that is going to leave something instilled for the next generation to come.
Yeah, and also to add to that is, it's also, my way of letting people know, man, don't sit around and wait for somebody else to green light you on shit.
Yeah.
I don't care what.
I mean, you can. Yeah.
I don't care what you trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like all that gatekeeping. It's like, listen, if you got something you're trying to do, figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And make it happen. I mean, it's 2025. We going into 26. It's too many resources. We got access. This generation, when you want to talk about the benefits that our children and other kids have access to, what they call them, Gen Zs, Alpha Gens, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it, but anyway.
Yeah, Gen Z.
So whatever, all of these resources and tools that they got access to.
Yeah.
You know, we was outside, and we lived a life of freeness, more free than free. Well, more freely than we live, more freely than they
did.
are.
Yeah.
But the flip side to that is they have access to more information.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's like, figure it out. Like the stuff we used to have to do, I'm talking about literally picking up phone books. You want to try to really find
somebody.
something, you got to go do the research. You got to go
MapQuest.
get the encyclopedia. Right.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Ain't wasn't none of that. Okay, let's just put an address in. No, if you didn't know where you was going, you on the road, you better go stop at a gas station and get a map.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, man. Well, you know, this has become your life. This has become your passion, your calling. Let's talk Swift Motion Pictures. When did this thought come into play and what inspired it?
Well, I had to come up with a name for a company.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know, I just felt like if I was gonna carry something, I might as well use my name, right? And in addition to that, I wanted to be clear on what I was doing. So I didn't want to say Swift Productions. You know, I wanted, you know, to add more of just to really be clear on what it was. These are motion pictures, you know, and, you know, that really rung to me. And, you know, I think it was a good pick.
There you go. What year was it founded?
2016.
How important is authenticity to you when creating, especially in the industry of independent films?
It's important, bro, but you know, that can get sketchy. You know what I mean? Because you always gotta pay attention to your audience, and you need to understand that sometimes the stories you trying to tell or the passion you have for telling some stories, you know, it might not resonate with everybody the way it's resonating with you.
For sure.
But the thing with that is what you need to understand in that is that this is a business, number one. And although you want to be as authentic as you can, not only to whatever story it is, but you know, that you're telling, but you want to be authentic to what you believe. So when you ask me authenticity, I'm looking at both of those. It's like, what do you believe in terms of telling the story? What type of messaging are you trying to send out? And you know, now if you're talking about being authentic with the story that you're following, this is the film industry, right? So I think that as long as you, if the goal is to tell a story, then let's make sure that you stay with the base of it. Right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can obviously add some fiction into it because you need to maybe sensationalize some stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just no different than the whole thing with the Diddy, right? So I think a lot of that is, you know, it's obviously coming from one direction. So a lot of that stuff is sensationalized, you know, it's edited, you know what I mean? But the goal with that was for them to stick to a storyline. Yeah. Do I think it's all the way authentic? No. Because you got to look at everybody that's on the documentary. It's all people that's just saying what
he did wrong.
You know what I'm saying? But they not talking. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation.
We did, definitely. I get where you're going.
I'm just saying when you speak in authenticity, you can pick stuff apart and understand that. Well, you have to pick stuff apart and understand what's real and what's not. based on,
Mm-hmm.
you got to look at the facts, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but from a journalistic standpoint, I think authenticity, you have to have that.
Yeah.
You have to have it. But whether it's so like documentaries, you have to have authenticity.
Yeah.
But when you're telling fictional movies, tales, I think that you can stretch it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, now you're a filmmaker, director, and your projects have been successful, beyond successful in my eyes, and I'll say it out there. I'm gonna do this for you real quick. My guy, I had to hit the button once.
My dog, good look, man.
But being a filmmaker, was there any filmmakers growing up or creatives that you looked up to that inspired the work you're doing today?
Yeah, man, definitely John Singleton.
Yeah.
Spike Lee in his earlier days, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. Francis Coppola,
Yeah.
right? It's a lot. It's a lot of people who inspire me to
Yeah.
to not only get in the film industry, but to really think about how do you continue to raise the bar.
Yeah. What does it mean to you that you're building here in Milwaukee instead of going to bigger markets? You could at any point given time, you could go to LA, you can go to Atlanta, you could go to all these type of markets, but from what I've seen, you've stood grounded in the city you come from and you're building here. What does that mean to you?
It means that we can do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just so happens that a lot of the stories that we're telling, and they're stories that we crafting from some real situations. Some of them inspired from stories here, but Milwaukee is a very colorful city, man. Our culture is colorful. The people's colorful.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we show the world that, we don't have to go to other places and say, all right, well, I'm finna move my operation down here. A lot of the rappers and back in the days, they did that, and they became very successful. A lot of filmmakers did it.
Yeah.
But I think that in terms of, when you talking about music, movies, anything, even podcasts, all of this entertainment, you don't have to leave your backyard no more because the future is in the hands of the independent.
Oof.
Now,
Say that louder for the people in the back.
100%. This is the future.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of people who, were in big positions of control, a lot of them are fighting, and they were fighting to avoid this.
Yeah.
But when you go to giving people information, nobody ever thought that TikTok would be what it is in terms of all these young people going on there and doing what they doing, and all of these situations that we have in front of us right now. So I think that anybody who's looking to do something, at this point, you don't need to go anywhere. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you bringing your resources together.
Yeah.
And that might require you to step into other cities and, states or whatever. You can go get all that stuff and bring it back. Yeah. But now, it's like, listen, bro, like anybody in this city that's looking to shoot movies or do whatever they trying to do, myself and all the folks that I know, we all here trying to assist.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you feel Milwaukee's creative community has supported or even challenged you along this journey?
That's an interesting question.
Because none can't be perfect, my guy.
That's an interesting question. Well, I'm gonna say this. I think that, and I'm gonna call it the old guard.
Yeah.
Right? I think that a lot of what I'm doing and a lot of what I sought out to do when I initially did it, a lot of people here didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand it. And it was. I don't think it's just Milwaukee. I think it's a lot of places.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that what I experienced was a lot of people that wasn't believing in it creatively in the creative community here. A lot of people didn't believe in it. A lot of people, were some people acted like they didn't really appreciate the art of what I was doing, just simply because, when you see folks that have already been doing something and then here come some new guy that's saying, well, look, I'm finna do it like this.
Yeah.
Some people get offended or some people
Rebellious.
Some people, they can, you can ruffle some feathers.
Yeah.
And make some people feel insecure. Because I've always been one of those folks that, it's like even when I didn't really know what I was doing like that.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me that. And if someone, I've had situations where, I've had conversations with people, well, how are you going to shoot a movie? If you're going to shoot a movie, you're going to have to at least spend a few $100,000 to make it, quality and looking like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But what I understood is, that's your way of doing shit.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? That's some rotary phone.
Yeah.
It's over with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a new day. So, I just, you got to keep moving, man. And you're going to hear a lot of folks that's going to be coming with this.
Yeah.
Anything you doing.
Well, with that being said, how do you feel Milwaukee's movie scene has evolved since you've entered the picture?
Slow, man.
Slow?
But I think it's for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of it is from an independent standpoint. You need to believe enough in the project to put the money up.
Yeah.
Not only do you need to believe in the project to put the money up, but you got to have the money.
Yeah.
And I think that, in a lot of ways, and you also have to believe in this industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's folks here shooting, you know what I'm saying? But it's not like a lot of other places, because Milwaukee is, it's a lot of skepticism. You know what I'm saying?
I've dealt with, and I know where you're going with this because, I've been doing this 3 years, and the barriers I've had to break is really through, this. I love my city with all my heart, but it is segregated. These bridges have disconnected us.
Oh, yeah.
Just breaking down those walls to get in rooms with people such as yourself. You know what I mean? And it's, I feel like the scariest part is taking that leap, right? And then what I've come to learn in these 3 years is that no one is going to see your vision but yourself. And on that, it is your job to make people believe why what you're doing is going to succeed. With this type of industry, with the highs and the lows, have there been moments that you've questioned continuing this path?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, listen, you gonna have a lot of them homies, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's because again, we putting it on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you put it on the line, it ain't coming like you thought. That one project, whatever. And you I've had a lot of moments where, I've questioned, I'm like, okay, I'm putting a lot of time and energy. Is this really, should I be doing something else?
Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just that this is one of the things that I really pour a lot of energy into because I love it. I do a lot of other shit because this is what I gotta do, right? But I think in those moments is when you need to really talk to yourself and understand and ask yourself, what is it that you want to do in life? You know what I mean? Like we can do a lot of stuff. It's just like you with the podcast when you're telling me, anytime somebody tell me I found my path, then what that's telling me is it has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
Of course, if you make money off of it, you make money. But when you hear people speaking like that,
mm-hmm.
they're telling you that they found something that they love. They found something that make them happy. They found something that they can get up and do, and it don't feel like work.
Yeah.
Even at times when it feels like work, it's still
part
roses,
of the game. Yeah.
because they just love the challenges of that. So, but even in that,
mm-hmm.
you still gonna have those moments where it's like, oh, I don't know, man, maybe I should. And I tell people, if you in that space right there, you find yourself in that type of space mentally, you just got to ask yourself, what are you going through at that moment in that time that's bringing that about? You got to identify that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't want to continue down a path of doing something that has not, the universe ain't showed you that, okay, this is
mm-hmm.
a goal. It's like you don't want to keep on sitting up here beating the same horse and ain't nothing coming out of it.
Yeah.
But if you doing something and you get more wins and you loving it, and more than anything else, if some of the things aren't fruitful as everything else, then do you want to give it all up? You think every time Jay-Z dropped the album, it was an instant hit?
Yeah. True.
I'm saying you think every time John Singleton or anybody,
dropped a project,
every podcast Gillian Wallow put out is a hit? No. You know what I mean? So you have to understand it and stay aligned with what the goal is.
Yeah. Those type of highs and lows, believe me, I've had my moments. I mean, I'd be lying if I said recently, I you know what I mean? And I usually tell people, don't ever look at the numbers, right? Don't ever focus on the if this is what you're really trying to do, like in the area that I'm doing, don't focus on the numbers. Don't focus on the views, streams. Focus on how you set yourself apart. Me has been quality, something I know you can appreciate because I see it all through your work. Quality and consistency. That's the formula. Now, whether people take that to heart, they cut corners, that's on them. What is failure or even rejection taught you in this journey that the success you've seen never could?
Well, rejection, I would have to say that for me, rejection is like, okay, look, everything ain't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right? I mean, it's no different than if, you take a young guy and he's trying to talk to a female and she shoot him down. If you don't understand what chances are and you playing the lottery is, then you going to retreat to a corner.
Yeah.
But when you understand that just because you like something or you think you like something because you're looking at something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That don't necessarily mean that it's going to like you back. And that's okay, because rejection is a beautiful thing because you can find where you need to be at.
Mm-hmm.
It's called catch up with your kind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like who like you. Like be in a situation with folks and individuals and do business and cater to the audience and supporters that want to see what you do, right?
Yeah.
That love what you do. And that's nothing against nobody else, and because everything ain't for everybody. And I know it was a second part to that question. My apologies.
No, just what can the failure and rejection teach
Failure,
you? Yeah,
failure. That's what I was going to answer first, right?
yeah,
Failure for me is you. Sometimes you need to reassess.
mm-hmm.
You know, some failures are lessons that you haven't, because you need to be rethinking and reassessing the plan.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or sometimes it just might not be the right moment.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that, you know, some projects that we've put out, the timing was perfect.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like I think the timing was perfect. You know, I keep stressing about A Good Day for Everybody.
yeah,
That's one of my favorite movies, but the audience didn't grasp the film the way that I thought they would.
yeah,
And it was shot beautifully. You know what I mean? The story was dope, in my opinion. And, you know, we did okay with it, but it didn't perform the way a lot of other stuff do. And I didn't take it personal. It was just one of them things where I just felt like, you know what, it was a lot of things in there that this audience don't really want to hear that.
yeah. Well, let me ask you this: how do you stay grounded as your visibility and the opportunities grow?
You got to keep your eyes on the goal. And when I say that, I mean, I'm always thinking about the next move. So we've conquered this.
Yeah,
Right? We know we can do, when you learn to do things and you can do them with your eyes closed, and like you're riding a bike, you start focusing on other areas that you can conquer. But you want to do that and stay true to what you love and also to what's paying you. But you know, I mean, it's just, I just like a challenge.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And so my grounding is just me constantly challenging myself. And I really don't be having time to be, you know, when I'm doing that, I don't have time to really focus on, oh, I got to stay grounded in
yeah.
X, Y, and Z, because, you know,
There's
I
beauty
just
in the
think
chaos.
that's who I am anyway.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? But I'm just always, it's like, okay, what's next? I need something else.
Yeah. Let's talk achievements, milestones for you. What do you feel are some that stand out?
Wow, it's a lot. Now, when you speaking of that, you know, I mean, I guess what area of life or milestones? Well, one milestone is it's going to be our 10th anniversary next year.
There we go.
And
Can I do this for you? Got you, bro. Wait, one more. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's major for me.
Yeah.
You know, because you know I accomplished more than what I thought I was going to accomplish in that first 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that on the creative side and just on the, you know, human level of, you know, of me thinking of others is also, you know, us bringing those tax incentives to Wisconsin, being a part of that movement with Action Wisconsin. You know, that was a big thing, irregardless to what happened with it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that was something that we were able to do that inspired creators here, you know. filmmakers, and Milwaukee, bro. Milwaukee. People here need any type of gas they can get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, if I never take advantage of them, and somebody else able to do it,
Yeah.
that was me doing a service to the state of Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for all the work that I've been putting in, and for me to understand that it's important to make things easier for the next wave of people coming after you.
Yeah.
Because that would have helped a lot in this 10-year journey, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if
for
we
sure.
would have had access to that. But, somebody got to pay the way, man.
Oh, you a trailblazer in every sense of the word, man. Like I said, before I even started this, you are someone that I look to that I know was pulling weight around here. The inspiration behind that too, because I keep bringing it up, I need people to understand, like, this isn't guaranteed. It wasn't like when people see my videos online and they tell me about the quality, they only see the end product. Yeah. They don't see the editing. They don't see what goes on in the background. So when I'm the fact that I'm sitting here with you and knowing what you've accomplished, you basically said, fuck everyone else. I believe in what I'm doing. And guess what? I'm here. I'm going to make my mark. And in part of doing that, I'm going to bring the people that very much were around me in my environment, my city. And that's one thing I truly admire about you. You haven't forgot about the city, because most people in your position, they get bigger and then they go off. And then I'm not saying you owe your city, but at the end of the day, you owe the environment you came from that made you. And you can't forget what made you, So I feel that with you. And those movies, let's talk about something, All About a Check. Yeah. You got 2 parts to that, right?
Yep, 2.
2 parts to that. Consequences has about 4 or 5?
That's 4 circumstances, and we got 2 All About a Checks.
Yeah, you know what I mean? What was your favorite, some of your favorite projects? Actually, let me ask you this. Out of all the projects you've done, what's your favorite that you've worked on?
Out of all of them.
They're going to be hitting you up once they hear you say the answer.
I would have to say All About a Check.
All About a Check?
Yeah.
I felt that one. Yeah. Yeah.
1 or 2.
That's gritty, bro. Hey, let me ask you this.
Was it 1 or 2? Which one?
The first one.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like, and then you go into the second one. The first one always hits the hardest in my eye, you know what I mean? Because then you gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta follow up with it. You still gotta stick to the same type of messaging you came through, but now it has to evolve. How long did that take to film?
10 days.
10?
Yeah.
Man. For real?
Yeah, 10.
Man. How long do these films usually take for you to shoot?
Typically, we did Untangled in 7. Typically 9 to 10 days.
All right. Yep. Well, we got to start getting Latinos in there, bro.
We do. Hey,
I know you do. I know you do.
We got some. I know for a fact we got. What?
Yeah.
All About a Check 2.
All About a Check 2, and then I think in Consequences.
Yeah.
In 3, I think it is. Yeah. But hey, nonetheless, what you're doing for Milwaukee, man. I this is coming from someone who took the leap, got scared, you know what I mean, but still pushed through. You're very much a part of that inspiration to keep going forward and what you're doing out here. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 with the filming?
Well, it's just all about going bigger.
Yeah.
I got a lot of different, plans, but the overall is definitely pushing the needle,
Yeah.
somewhere pushing the envelope and doing some shit that people think you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And man, you've been doing one hell of a job, bro. And I feel, you know what I mean? I want you to know personally, in any way you need my assistance, 'cause I know you busy, man, and you got, you're putting a lot together. That in itself, like, think about all the components that comes into directing a film, making the vision actually come to life. Don't ever be shy to hit up the line. You feel me? I know that it takes a village. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you've had people around you that have helped you get to the level that you are right now. I always say this is the most important question of the interview. What advice would you give to aspiring film makers? And it's a two-part, as well as the youth of our city.
Go with your gut. Take the fucking shot.
Yeah.
And don't sit around and overthink the shit. If you want to do something, get out there and figure it out. And for the youth, keep dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look beyond your understanding. Align yourself with some OGs who love you enough to give you information and to guide you in the right direction, because that's what a lot of these young people is lacking now, Xavier.
Yeah.
You know, so many of them, they just want to tell all the old cats to move aside. But what you don't understand is that's how they got here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you wanna win, you need to talk to people.
You need the
that
wisdom.
have won.
Mm-hmm.
And just because somebody may not be in a certain position in life, when I say you need to talk to people that have won, I'm not talking about no money. If a person is still around here and they've been taking care of themselves and they still moving about and they got the sound mind, they making good decisions, and they still in the mix, that means that you can learn something from them. You know, so what I would tell them is, you know, like don't put money, don't make money be the goal or how you assess everybody.
Yeah.
Because, you know, God is going to bring things to you. The realness is going to come by way of wisdom. Align yourself with some wisdom.
Yeah. Swift, I truly appreciate you taking the time out. I know you working on some things, and I definitely am looking forward to that. What are the best way people can reach you if, say, they want to, sponsorship or even go into, investing in the dreams that you're putting out here?
Hit me up on social, Swift Sloan, Swift Motion Pictures.
Yeah.
Info at swiftmotionpictures.com.
Man, again, I truly appreciate you. I feel like this is a defining point in the career that I've set for myself, being just across from you, and I'm going to keep dreaming and I'm going to keep pushing. And I know that at the end of the day, our paths, it wasn't a mistake we met, but at the same time, I want to thank you for the work that you put in the city, for the work that I've seen that has inspired me to push in the way I'm pushing. You're a trailblazer. You're to me, you're an icon. To me, you're a legend. To me, you're up here in my book. So I just want to say thank you for coming on the show, sharing your story. And, you know, definitely it's all love.
Appreciate it, bro, man.
Yeah.
Keep doing dope shit, man.
Yeah.
It's dope.
And with that being said, Spearhead out.